What is NATO and why was it established in the first place?
On the 4th of April 1949, the North Atlantic Treaty was signed 4 years after World War II ended, and the world's largest military alliance was born.
There are those who claim that this treaty is an aggressive act on the part of the nations which ring the North Atlantic. That is absolutely untrue.
12 nations, including the US, UK, Canada and France, agreed to form a defensive alliance to counter the Soviet Union, a group of communist states, including its most powerful member, Russia, in what was known as the Cold War. After the Soviet Union was dissolved in 1991, NATO leaders debated the future direction of the alliance without its core threat, while welcoming a number of former Soviet states, but not nuclear-armed Russia.
NATO says its purpose is to guarantee the freedom and security of its members through political and military means.
NATO members are also backed by an arsenal of nuclear weapons that guarantees the security of its now 32 member states under Article 5 of its founding treaty.
This essentially means that if one NATO ally is attacked, then all NATO allies are attacked.
NATO doesn't have an army of its own, but the alliance can draw on the armies, navies and air forces of its members in a crisis. It makes decisions by consensuses through a council that consists of ambassadors from each country and is chaired by the Secretary General, currently the former Norwegian Prime Minister Jens Stoltenberg. In 1995, NATO engaged in its first major operation in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and since then it's been involved in smaller operations beyond the region of Europe in countries like Iraq. Article 5 has only ever been activated once, in the wake of the 11th of September 2001 terrorist attacks on the United States, when NATO allies agreed to deploy to Afghanistan in support of a US-led operation to hunt Osama bin Laden. Most recently, NATO has been focused on deterring Russian aggression in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. This has involved mobilizing thousands of troops to bolster NATO's eastern flank across the Baltic states, as well as southeastern Europe. But Russia's initial invasion of Ukraine in 2014, followed by its full-scale war in 2022, have seen NATO allies switch back to more of a Cold War footing closer to home. Ukraine is not yet a member of NATO, so it doesn't enjoy the protections of collective defense.
NATO's Secretary General has said it's inevitable that Ukraine will become a member, but not until its war with Russia ends.
Moscow is strongly opposed to Ukraine joining NATO and also wants former Soviet states to relinquish their membership, something they in turn reject. It means as NATO marks its 75th year, the tensions that created the need for the alliance in the first place are as grave as ever.